welcome to Off the Cuff, where the headlines come to life. And today we have Eddie Murray, who is a former kicker, and Lomas Brown, who is an offensive tackle. They're both football players, and we're so excited to have them. Welcome, gentlemen, to Off the Cuff.
Thank you for having us.
It's really exciting to have you here. I love to watch football, and I've watched you in the past as well. Amazing players, and you are both retired, and you've both been played in the Super Bowl as well.
We have.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your experiences. And Lomas?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, you know, anytime you could reach the pinnacle of your profession, of your sports, you know, and just it's almost like a dream. It really is. You know, I was fortunate enough to be able to get to a Super Bowl, to get the two of them, and a lot of players don't do that. And I think because how late I got to the Super Bowls in my career, in my 16th and my 18th year.
Super Bowls.
Yeah,
wow.
Super Bowl. That's
Yes, but both
makes
of
you
them.
appreciate it,
Right,
though. It
it's
really
plural.
does.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And, you know, I only won one of those. I wish I would have won both. But just to be able to say I went to multiple ones, it's just been a great experience. And that's what the kids like. They like to see the hardware.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Lomas, you've played for a number
Yeah,
of
18
teams.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
I played 18 years in the league, played for 5 different teams.
Well,
Detroit
the most important
Lions.
one was the Detroit
Lions.
Lions.
Yes.
That's my
That's our
longest.
team, our
Absolutely.
silver and blue.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, you know, and as an alumni, hoping that things get better for the team, you know, the organization, you know, because we bleed Honolulu blue and silver as alumni, you know, and we want to see the team do well, and hopefully they'll just keep progressing. And there's been a lot of changes, but hopefully it's changes for the good.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Eddie, I mean, you've been to a Super Bowl as well. And
Yes.
Tell
Yeah.
us about that.
You got your rings on,
Yeah.
guys?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Those babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's mine.
Yeah.
A big nothing.
Aw.
But yeah, to piggyback off of Lomas, I mean, it was everything and more, really. I mean, whatever you can imagine it to be, it was definitely greater than you could expect, and that's what you play
about,
professional
yeah.
sports
To
about,
get to.
and to have achieved it and to have won it, which is of course the key.
Right.
Lomas got both experiences, but I was
Right.
fortunate to have gotten there and won the one time that I went there, and it was a great experience. And I know for me, I appreciated it a lot more because it was my 14th year in the league at the time.
Wow.
Because I had my first 12 years here in Detroit and had 1 year in Tampa, and then went to Dallas when we won the Super Bowl there, and got 20 total years in with 6 teams. So
let's. Something I've often wondered, I don't know about you, but when you're getting ready for anything, there's this anxiety that builds up, the excitement, there's palpitations. What's it like when you're working through a season and the culmination for everybody is the Super Bowl? What the emotions that you both have? I mean, how do you process that?
Well, I know for me, I think the most amazing part for me was the NFC Championship game, actually the game before the Super Bowl, because again, that was my 16th year. Even though we went to one together with the Lions earlier, we had lost that one, but I finally won one. And it was the fact that you knew you were going to the Super Bowl. So like you say, it's like all the work, everything you put in, all the time you put in, the effort, the lifting, just everything. It kind of almost flashes back, because you kind of, like you say, reaching their ultimate. You know, this is what you play for, you know, and this is what you play for, and that's what you're remembered for. They never remember who lost the Super Bowl, believe me.
Right.
You know, it's always who won the Super Bowl. So, that's how it felt for me.
Yeah.
And like you say, the anxiety as professional athletes, you just have to channel it and channel it to the right, in the right direction, so it's a benefit to you instead of a hindrance.
Right,
to you.
Eddie, how about you? Did you have any?
Definitely, it became very reflective. I know for myself, I always remember what Lomas has said in 1991. We made it to the NFC Championship game and lost to the Redskins. So that was as far as I had gone, and then to make it over that hump to get to actually play in the Super Bowl was a big thing. I remember we had played San Francisco in Dallas and won the game, and my wife was sitting close to the railing, and when we won it, I went over to the sideline and gave her a big hug and said, you know, we made it here because of the reflective thing. Yes, it's us and we're there and all of that kind of stuff, but there's a lot of ups and downs and ebb and flows, and we had a coach who used to say there's a lot of midstream adjustments, and there is always things that happen, and you, like I had mentioned, you become very reflective of people in your life, things that you've done, sacrifices that you have made, and you know, maybe some things that you know, you would put aside because of the fact that you had to train, work out, you know, kick, run, all the lifting and all of the things that we have to do to get to that point. It was worth it.
Right.
And to have it all come to that pinnacle to get a chance to play in this.
And there's really no formula, because every time you throw the ball or you make a run or you get knocked down, it's like you have to recalculate. It's not like having a plan, okay, this is what we're going to do. They can tell you the plays, correct? But it's what's happening. It's like management by crisis, I would think.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's reactionary. That's what it is. I mean, you're reacting to what's going on out there, and like you said, you have to be able to adjust midstream, like Eddie say, and you have to be able to be focused in to make those adjustments. I mean, that's what separate, you know, players, good players, from your outstanding players to your Hall of Fame players. I mean, so you're absolutely right about that. So it's about how you adjust to things, and that's, believe me, as football players, we're creatures of habits. We like things to be the same way, the same time, the same color, whatever. We like it like that. So yeah, you're right. You have to be trained to make adjustments.
I want you to hold on to that thought, because I want to go back to that when we fast forward to what you're both doing now, because I want to see the discipline that you achieved in sports and how it transcends into the business world. But something that you brought up, Eddie, that's I think important is, and I have a lot of friends in NBA, so I know the pressure that it puts on the wives and their families. From a family perspective, what do you think are important components to be a spouse? It's like being in the military to me. You know, you have to be a very strong, determined person. Sometimes you're the mother and the father. So tell us about that. You know, I think it's wonderful that you related to that you know, your wife is.
Well, I mean,
both of you,
there's a lot of military terms used in sports. You know, we go to war. You know, we're in the trenches. You know, teamwork, esprit de corps. These are terms that are universal both in sports as well as in the military. So with bringing that attitude, you have to have a very strong spouse. Our personalities, our egos, whatever way you want to put it, unfortunately gets put into the forefront. You know, what we get tended to, we get treated well, we get, you know, what we get kind of pampered, if you want to call it that. But there are, you know, certain situations. Sometimes it can be, you know, birthday parties. You know, we could be at training camp, you know, and your kids are, you know, born during training camp. I know my son was born during training camp, and as he got older, I couldn't celebrate his birthday a lot because I'm at camp. I can't go on a trip. I can't take them somewhere. I can't do things.
Have they maybe come to you sometimes? Just
Well,
to be
yeah, I mean,
together?
like we still celebrate his birthday, but it's because, well, I got to do it in between meetings, or I go, okay, well, I can't do it on his birthday. I'm free 2 days down the road, you know. So there's a lot of adjustments and a lot of sacrifice. That's really what the key is the sacrifice that the spouses and your children have to make for you to do your job, because that's really what it is. It is a job. It is a job.
Talking about sacrifice, the concern that I've always had with football is the actual physical toll that it takes on the body. And my nephew played football for high school, and he was phenomenal. But he went down with a few concussions, and that was always something that I really, really, really was concerned about. And with the new, you know, research that they're doing, I mean, this is a major thing. You have 2-3 concussions, and there's something that, you know, is going to show up later on. How was your experience with that? And, you know, have you dealt with something like that? I mean, in terms of, you know, the hits that you get out there on the field. Because when I watch football, I just see a whole bunch of guys just beating each other up. And
You don't
it's
want to be
like,
on the
you know,
bottom, right?
and they just
I
pile
watch
up
that,
on
I go,
top
"Oh my
of each
gosh."
other. And I couldn't go to my nephew's games because it was like, oh my God, and I wanted to run out there, you know, and see if they're okay. So what is your experience with that? I mean, physically speaking.
So in other words, do you have arthritis?
All right, I was going around and around, and she
I know,
that's my
I
co-host.
can make you a
Well, I mean,
spokesperson of something.
just position-wise, Lomas was in a greater position to take more abuse because of being an offensive lineman. You're
Right.
hitting every play,
Right.
and hitting bodies and so I'm not. But concussions, it has no
Exact
commonality.
kind
I
of-
mean, because you can have one concussion, and you could not play anymore, or you could have 7 or 8 concussions, and you can still be able to function. You know what we're finding, concussions have, you know, that they have no family as far as because you have more, you're going to have
Categorized.
more problems with it. It doesn't make a difference. It's like a boxer. A boxer can take a punch or he can't take a punch. It's the same thing with handling concussions. Some people can handle them and still be able to function afterwards. Some people can't. Some people look like they don't have a very big impact, but they have severe ramifications from
Right,
them
it's
afterwards.
long term. It's
Right,
long-term
so it's not
effect
so
of
much
that.
the position, and I know for me, I had 4 concussions myself, and a lot of them were all on kickoff team. I'm running down, and I got blindsided by someone, and it wasn't so much the hit. It's the head hitting the ground. That's where we get them from, because especially in my situation, I would not see the hit. So I'm not bracing for it. Where Lomas's position, he can see
sees
someone
somebody
coming at him and be able to brace, and it might be more of a jostling effect, or somebone falling on you or hitting you from a blind side, and that's where you get it. But it's a concern because it has become in the forefront with the concussion movie that's out, and all of the studies, and players having difficult times and committing suicide and all of these types of things. It's
Now, do you think that's correlated with the physical aspect in terms of the suicide
I do.
rate
I
being
think
increased?
it has some bearing on it from just the length of playing. Again, it doesn't need to be the amount of concussions. It can be just one that could put you in a situation that you're in a very desperate situation with how you're handling it and how you recuperate afterwards, and then how you get care for it afterwards also.
What advice would you give young kids that are on the football field that are playing and to be cognizant of that kind of thing?
I mean, that's the
and
one
coaches
thing,
that say go back in the game.
That's the one thing you don't want to do, though. I mean, football is a great game, and the thing I think one of the secrets to football is you have to be out there. You have to be going full speed. There can't be hesitation.
Right.
You can't be out there thinking about what if I'm gonna get hurt. That's when you're gonna get hurt. So the thing I would tell a young adult is right now, football is probably, well, it's as safe as it's ever been right now. The equipment is more advanced than it's ever been.
Helmets.
They got techniques of how they're teaching the tackle, all the rule changes at the NFL and the colleges with targeting. They've taken all that out the game. This is as safe as it's ever been. I wouldn't have a problem with telling a kid to play football right now because it's really safe, and they're really looking at it and making sure it's safe, and they're evolving with how they're making the safety of the game. So the minute you send somebody out there thinking about that, that's when they're going to get hurt. So
Is it more vulnerable?
Oh,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
a doubt, because you
Because
hesitate,
it's all mental, isn't it?
And then you
Yeah.
hesitate.
Yeah.
Football is a game of, like I say, reaction,
reaction.
and you got to go.
Right.
You can't be sitting out there waiting and
Looking around.
Yeah, you can't do that. You got
Can't
to
hesitate.
go. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can't be out there thinking about getting hurt. You really can't.
What do you think about, because there's been such big discussion about the passion that people have for their kids playing and the coaches relative to high school and college. I think by the time you get to pro, you know that if you've got a bad shoulder, I'm going for your bad shoulder, right?
Right.
So, but with kids, some of these that are injured and they're playing.
Well, I mean,
Is that cool? Sports
No.
talk
That's not
wise,
cool.
I mean, you know
No.
what I'm saying. Is it? It's more rhetorical, but you know what I'm saying.
No.
Is that these kids will get out there, or the coaches will say, "I know this hurts you, but get out there. You know, we got to win this game."
Toughen up.
Are we losing the perspective of what sports is about in some cases? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out
there's
there.
always
I'm throwing that
there's
out there.
always
No,
the
that's a
sprinkle
good
of
one.
coaches out there that kind of lose sight of the the big picture, and they get a little too wrapped up in the fact that they need to win, rather than having the kids participate and enjoy the experience of being on a team sport. And that's really the essence of it, is playing in a team, doing things together, working hard, having some discipline, and being able to handle failure as well as being able to handle success. That is
true.
a big
Rejection
thing
is-
too.
yeah.
Rejection is a hard thing. Those are all good qualities that need to be learned from team sports, whether it's football or basketball.
So it's a perfect entree into let's fast forward now, because
Wait,
you're
I
both-
just wanted to. I
okay.
wanted to ask Lomas a real quick question. I know that you actually was her assistant coach at Andover.
I'm still,
You're still
doing
that.
that
Yeah.
now.
So
And my son plays. My 16-year-old son plays football there now, and I feel a responsibility to those kids. I watch those kids, and you feel a responsibility. Just like Eddie's saying, you have some coaches out there, they're looking for their next job, or they're looking at a way to try to advance themselves, and they may not have the kids'
Best interest.
in mind and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're right, you have some of them out there like that. But I think the majority of the coaches, the good coaches, they try to do it the right way, and they really are looking out for the kids' well-being.
So with your experience and you being out there, in pro football and what have you, I mean, these kids definitely have an advantage with having you there. But you're more cognizant about what Donna was just
Right,
saying in
exactly
regards to
right.
in
You're
regards to them.
exactly
'Cause
right.
I know when my nephew was out there, he had a concussion, and the coach sent him back in, and I was so I don't go to his games anymore. He goes, "Auntie, you can't come anymore. You just can't be here."
Right.
So it's
Right.
it's
Yeah,
hard to watch.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I was 39 years old, because I played till I was 39. And my mom, she was still, "Oh, that's my baby." My mom couldn't hardly watch the games. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's my baby. You all out there hitting and stuff." So it don't matter how old
No.
you are. I was a
No,
39-year-old
They're
man
always
with kids.
My kids
My
are
mom
older.
couldn't watch it.
They're my
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah,
They're my
that's right.
babies.
You're
Yeah.
right.
That never changes.
No,
You're right.
no.
But let's fast forward now, because now that we've instilled the philosophy of sports and what you've done, your successes, how has that transcended into your business environment?
Well, I think you need to take the same work ethic. That's really the thing that you need to try to transfer over. It's like playing football without pads on. That's what I call work. So you need to still have the drive, the wherewithal to learn, continue to keep learning. And in business, there's always a lot to learn. Not only just as far as the industry you may be in, with technologies or softwares that are out there, techniques, certifications, all of these types of things that give you a better awareness of your competitors in your field of business, but also being able to present your company to potential clients, I think is good. And you don't have to know everything as well as you need to have a better grasp of all of the capabilities and techniques and services that you can offer to your clients, and try to give them the overview of your company, and then let the expertise as far as whatever industry that you're in, there's always the people that can finish off the accounts.
Lomas, what are you doing right now in terms of business and moving on? And
Well, yeah, basically, I'm in the diversity field, and me and Eddie, we're getting ready to, the company that Eddie's with, we're getting ready to go into a partnership, minority partnership. His company, very successful company, wiring, cabling business, And, you know, again, something that, like Eddie's saying, I have no idea about this field, but what I'm going to do is apply just like I did when I played football. You know, you get the playbook, you study your plays. Like you said, you learn your opponents, so we learn our competitors. Then you learn your allies, your teammates.
The
we learn
lifestyle.
Yeah, so that it's good
Due
because I can
diligence,
apply.
as they say in corporate.
Apply
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
Everything you do, you can apply.
You said
to.
diversity? That's
Yes.
my buzzword.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk to me
Yes.
about
Yes.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
what
Well, I mean, love that field. I've been in the field going on about 4 years now. And, you know, the thing about equality and equality for all us, you know, we have to have kind of like people out there that really are activists for that, to make sure that the smaller mom and pop businesses or individual businesses, they're being given the opportunity to match up with some of these bigger corporations, because some of these smaller companies, they have just as much capability,
Absolutely.
and sometimes even more. They could bring
Absolutely.
more innovative ideas to
Sure.
this big corporation. So
And the one-on-one service, you know, is
and that's what they miss.
yeah.
You're exactly right. So
You don't get
we're
lost in
trying
the
to match
bureaucracy.
them. Absolutely.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be like that. I'm sorry, it shouldn't be
Yeah.
like that, because again, you take like a Quicken Loans. Well, they sell mortgages to everybody. It's not just a particular person get a mortgage. They sell it to everybody. So their supplier, their vendor base should reflect the people that they go out and service and sell their mortgages to. So that's it. Just trying to be an advocate in that kind of segment of.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, I know.
now.
I love it. I love it
Because
too.
we do the
Yeah,
Images and Perceptions
yeah.
Diversity Conference, and
Yeah.
it's talking about, you know, that divide and bringing, you know, the common ground and being able to
Absolutely.
have the right kind of opportunities, you know, regardless of your background, or, you know, it's a right, and it's something that, you know, we need to all advocate.
And like they say,
for.
women rock. You guys rock because
Yes.
you're
Let me say that again.
Yeah, the WB segment. I mean,
We did not pay him to say that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, they are clamoring for that. That's know that's a segment that they really want to prop up, is the women-owned businesses and stuff.
Right.
So yes, you guys rock. We need you guys out there.
Well, we both belong to NABA, which is the National Association of Women's Business Owners. It's a national organization, but we're part of the Greater Detroit chapter, and that's one of the things that's wonderful about this, is that we engage the men in our community from a business perspective too. So it's exciting for us because we're taking it to the next level. We're supporting each other. I think there's a different networking process with women than there is with
agree.
men. I think women are a little bit more strategic about how they go about it, where the guys are like, hey, let's go have a beer. And, not that, listen, I'll get on the golf course with you guys anytime.
Right,
Anytime. Be out hitting me, but I can putt.
All right, now you're not talking my language.
I know. I'm with you. Me and you are
Really?
together.
Well, you'll be
Eddie's
run
a
after
great
a ball.
golfer.
You'll be in the clubhouse,
Eddie
we'll
can
be out
golf.
there.
There you
Yes,
go.
he's a big
So
golfer.
tell us, though, because I think it's important for everybody to know, that I remember hearing that most of you guys, after the football season, you're out there working anyway. You're not resting on your
Right.
laurels.
Yeah.
So you're cultivating your business acumen through that process. So tell us more about this joint venture and where you want it to go. I mean, let's promote you a little bit. That's what this is all about for
Well,
us.
the company I worked for was Great Lake Wire and Cable. We have just been acquired by Diversified Wire and Cable out of Sterling Heights. And our new entity just formed December the 14th of 2015. So we're in our infancy. We're in the sparkle stage right now.
Good.
We're about 6 weeks into being the GLD group, which is Great Lakes Diversified Group.
Awesome.
And one of the initiatives of our owner, Dean Stanton, was he wanted to have a very strong, legitimate minority partnership. And that's really what he wanted to.
That's what it's all about.
And it's not a pass-through. It's not a whatever. He wanted to have something that was boots on the ground, a strong personality behind it to give it some legitimacy. And I mentioned Lomas because Lomas and I have been not only just longtime teammates, but been close friends. We have worked and helping each other out, opening up doors and supporting each other's charity adventures, to football camps with each other, and all of these types of things. So we've had a very strong relationship, not only on the field but also off the field.
Awesome.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for Lomas's work ethic, and what he brings to the table as an individual, I think, is extremely strong. And Mr. Stanton saw the same thing also, and we are in the final stages of putting our partnership together, and moving forward with trying to open up our minority side of our business.
Good. So we have a few minutes left. So what we'd like to see is, what's the highest moment in your life, and what's the lowest, and what's the highest and lowest? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's just to show how resilient that people can be. Before we close, we want them to have the full service of Eddie Murray and Lomas Brown.
Well, I'll go probably the lowest. I lost my parents 6 weeks apart, and it was a decision that I had to make as far as going back to Tampa Bay, because I didn't know my mom was sick then, and I signed the day before they went to training camp. I pushed it like that, because I didn't know, and they passed. So I would say that was probably the lowest point. Of course, I'm gonna say the Super Bowl,
the ring.
That was high. Outside of my kids being born.
Oh no.
I would say the Super Bowl. Right now, I would say that. Hopefully, one day, maybe I'll be able to get in the Hall of Fame. And that might trump the Super Bowl. That might, but right now it's the Super Bowl.
Eddie, how about you?
Well, both my parents died when I was young. They died before I was in college. My father died when I was 14, and my mother died when I was 18. And for me, as far as business, my thing was, it's not so much I had a low point. I mean, I've had points where things haven't gone well, or the company hadn't done as well as we had thought, and I kind of I hitched myself up to an opportunity that really didn't work out, those types of things. But I learned from every experience, and that's what I've always tried to take out of every opportunity. Is there's always positives when there's a negative, and if you can grow from those negatives and change those things around, that's what I've tried to do.
Well, you're both very amazing, and you proved that greatness comes with being very humble, being talented at what you do, being educated, and having a vision. Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's what I think we both received that today from you.
Absolutely.
It's not just about the successes that you have, it's what you do with those successes.
And
that's
moving forward. Absolutely.
That's right.
Eddie Murray, Lomas Brown, thank you so much. NFL greats. For myself,
thank you for your service.
For myself and my co-host, Donna Joseph, this has been Off the Cuff. Thank you. We'll see you soon.